So I think an important thing is to celebrate the small victories that we have, no matter how small. If it's the only thing you can do when you do it, you should celebrate it. Otherwise, you're going to be so overwhelmed, you just never go anywhere.
I
So,
agree 100%.
yeah, just getting the property, finding one finally and getting it, that's a pretty big thing and maybe bigger than usual because of the thousands of miles I had to drive and so many properties to look at just all across, crisscrossing the state again and again and again.
There was one in Shelbyville.
Yeah, it just came on the market this morning.
Oh. How are you doing? In the road's not opening either.
There was a last minute place that popped up. It's 8 acres. Here's the house. And it looks pretty nice so far. It's supposed to be gutted. It's really cheap, so we're gonna check this out. Realtor's just getting here. Hopefully this is the one. Here's from part of the back. One of the barns. Just walking down this trail here. It goes to that field back there. And it goes to the field over there. So it's a lot of wood. It's not like super thick or anything, but we got blackberries. Anyway, it's looking all right so far. It's probably some wet areas. We are in Pennsylvania, walking around. I tell you what, man, the West Coast is nothing compared to the East Coast. It's just so awesome here. There are trees, grass without sprinklers. I mean, obviously it's yellow, it's winter. Technically it's still winter, but take a look at you got some foothills of the mountains here. It's pretty nice. A lot of people think it's flat, but this ain't Kansas. Everything's expensive out here too. The offer that we put in, that's not gonna work. So we are still looking. So now we are headed to Michigan. We are looking at some 20-acre properties, some 10-acre properties, and my brother-in-law found some other 5-acre properties with houses or trailers on them. So we'll probably go check those out as well. See what everything's going for, and check the MLS again when I get into Michigan and see if anything news popped up this morning. Maybe go look at that. Never heard back from that offer. Not surprising. Didn't think it would go through anyway. Here is the back. There's a house right there. There's a horse right there. Here we go. There's animals living down there. Removed carpet, put in a fix underneath this window. Probably water damage because there's water there, water there, water damage there. Roof's cracking in a few spots. Water damage in the wall. They spray painted the ceiling, which probably means that's all water damage. And they didn't want you to see it. They should have not have spray painted the molding. Again, spray painted the edge to hide water damage on the roof. This whole front door and jamb needs replaced. Lots of water damage. Also, doesn't close, as you can see, sunlight. We're coming back from the back end of the property. 10 acres, about 5 times as long as it is wide. at some nice oak trees. Looks like there's a couple pine, there might be some walnut or something in here. Maybe some maple. Ow. Two-track going all the way to the back. I don't know if it continues on. I mean, it does continue on to the next property, but I don't think it's used for anything. That property connects to the main road. We'll jump back at the beginning. And here we are, finally at the front. You can see the trailers. This pretty much follows the property line. Some camps over here. Most of these are just hunting camps. But it looks like some of them are year-round hunting camps. So they want, for this 10 acres, they want 47. It's been for sale a while. There's no bathroom. One of the reasons why people probably haven't bought it is that Porta John over there, home built. It's a nice little hunting area here, the big old fire pit stuff. And that is out to the easement. So yeah, overall, pretty interesting property. All right, so there's the little cabin. And this is 4 acres. Looks like it goes this way. All fenced in. Nice little rolling hills there. Goes to that road down there, to the edge of that pond. Oh, no, these are some kind of fruit tree. Don't know what. They need pruned massively. And that looks like a field that is being used, so probably cows. Nothing in there right now. So we had a offer accepted on a 16.5 acre parcel. It was actually 2 parcels. And then this property came up and it is 20 acres. And so far it looks pretty nice. It is kind of skinny, but it's long. So let me show you what this looks like. So the trees right there, to those trees, that tree line, and then all the way back there is only halfway. So once you get the trees back there, it's actually twice as far. So let's take a walk. So we are just coming up to the back of the field. This is where the trees start. This is only halfway of the property. So it continues for that same length there. You can see the truck way back there. Continues another 10 acres that way into the woods. And it looks like it is a mix of pine and hardwood. But I'm gonna walk just a little bit back there and see what's going on. Those are some pretty nice trees, if you ask me. Definitely quite a few hardwoods, and they go back. So that is awesome. And if it's a little wet back there, even better. You can get a little pond or something going on. So yeah, this is fantastic. I like it. We're definitely making an offer on this bad boy. And we're still only roughly halfway back, so let's do it. This might be the one. Here we are. We came back to the property, and those are all maples. Lots of small ones, lots of big ones. I don't know if they're sugar maple yet. I don't think so, but I'm hoping that they are, because then I wouldn't have to plant any. This is a really awesome property. I put a escalation clause in the purchase agreement and it never even hit. So I came in above asking, about 10%, just over 10% above, which maybe I didn't need to do, but not a big deal because I got this land pretty cheap. I was willing to go almost 100% more and no need. So it got it the lowest I could get it for, basically. This is gonna be it. So the other property had some restrictions on it that I didn't like, that we found out afterward anyway. So that one is gonna go away and we're going to keep this one. So all we got to do is wait for the title work and we'll close on this, and I'll have a little bit extra money for building an off-grid RV. So I just wanted to thank my realtor, Helena. She was fantastic, supportive, and a great help finding the right property for the right price. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I enjoy people, I enjoy real estate. So I did get into the business. I know this is going to sound cliche, but to help people, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, and just to have that servant's heart to really ask lots of questions, find out what you're looking for, because everyone's looking for something different, and hone in on that and see how I can be that advocate throughout the process. I'm a mom of 4 kids, so I definitely enjoy Michigan. I love this state. It's, I think, one of the best states ever.
For sure.
We have great summers. Sometimes people say harsh winters, but I'll tell you, there's nothing like going snowmobiling and sledding in the winter. Or as my dog did yesterday, he slid down our hill into the brush because there was an ice storm a couple of days ago. But I hope that my passion for all that shows with my clients, and they can really see that, see all the beauty this great state has to offer.
Overall, I think this was a pretty strenuous event. We went through over 50 properties and thousands of miles of driving. Because there was so many to go through, a few times you set me up with partners that could show me it, because we had to move quick. So it comes on the market and you got to get out there like that day or the next day, and you've got other clients to deal with. So you made arrangements with partners that allowed me to go and look at those properties.
So we have a great directory, and I was able to partner with agents up north in Traverse City area, agents to the east and Lansing and Detroit, if you needed to go that way. I'm flexible. I think I drove one time almost a couple hours for you, because I know we went up north. We also went down south a couple of times, because you were pretty much open to most of Michigan, I would say.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere, as long as it wasn't near a city.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. As long as it's not in the city. I remember.
So we closed out this property a while ago now. We're making this video about almost not quite a year, but getting closer to a year since the property closed. And part of that reason is winter. So the property is completely raw. There's nothing on it. So I can't really do anything with the property until spring. And I am heading up there tomorrow to move up there, even though it's still winter. I think it's going to be fine. The sun should be out, so my off-grid solar should be working. I do have a generator just in case. But how has the market changed, better, worse since then?
I have started to see, it's crazy, because you see all these tabloids and they're saying a crash. But what I'm seeing more is almost a shift, and people are back at it since January. I'm seeing now, I think this spring market is probably going to be one of the biggest spring markets we've seen in a long time.
What is the most important thing for people that are looking for a homestead or small farm or just a nice rural property to be able to raise some chickens or stuff like that? What is the most important thing for them to do before the process, during the process, and after, to think about or consider?
Whatever location you want to be at, you're going to need to know the locations like ordinances, the zoning laws, and all those right kind of regulations to make sure the property that you're purchasing is going to be able to do exactly like you're going to be able to build on it the way you want to build on it, or you're going to be able to utilize that property the way that you want to utilize it and its purpose that you have for it.
And where would people find that information?
You're going to be able to get the township information off the internet. I actually would say a realtor. I really think this is why you have agents, this is why you have buyer agents. They're really going to know the best places to get that kind of information. Because there's it's called BSA software that has a lot of great information, but you have to pay a small fee, and a lot of realtors will do that. They also know all the townships and where to go. There's also a GIS, a map parcel website that you can utilize for each county that can show like the acres and who owns the property and some of the property information. Mainly it's going to be, so I recommend an agent to help kind of work with you on that. If you're not able to get a hold of your agent, then you can definitely Google search the township and the ordinances. But not every township posts their ordinances. So sometimes you have to call the township and speak with an assessor or a zoner or just even a clerk that can email you the ordinances so you know exactly what it is you can do on that land that you're purchasing.
So the best thing for people to do is to call you. Whether they're buying or they're selling, they should call
I
you.
like it. Yes, call me.
And Helena's information is either going to be a link in the corner and also down in the description below if you'd like to contact her. Some people might want to live in the city or the suburbs and still do a homestead. Are there any tips you might have for them in those locations as it pertains to purchasing a house?
There's a lot of great townships that are rural townships or that have rural residential areas where you can do your own homestead or your own farming, and then you just follow those zonings and guidelines. And usually they're like 20 minutes, 20 miles, 20 minutes from, a major city. So learning what townships those are and maybe which county you can do a little bit more in depending on what you want to do. It's all about the research and like getting to the internet and finding out what exactly it is you want to build and create on your property.
And calling you.
And then calling me, yeah.
All right. So where do you see things going the rest of this year as far as real estate goes and into the future, a few years?
So the truth is getting the right information out there to the public so they can make good, solid, sound decision and not base their decision on fear. I'm hearing a lot of people say they want to what we call right size, but they're scared because then they're afraid they won't find that house. But when you actually get out and talk to an agent or even a good solid local lender to get more information, because a lot of it has to do with finances or what you want, what's your envision, what's your goal, what's your dream, where do you see yourself in a year, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years, what do you want to do with the rest of your life. I personally think we need to see more homes going on the market. We need to see like the reason why we're not seeing such a dip or a crash that everyone says, and maybe some states are too. I mean, I'm in Michigan. We got to look at that factor that every state is going to have different rules, regulation, guidelines, and their market is going to vary depending on state, and it's going to vary depending on city and counties and things like that. But I'm seeing what I would love to see is more homes getting listed, because then we can help, because we still have, I mean, 20 buyers to every house. And we've seen at the end of last year, we saw the least amount of homes listed in over a decade going on the market. So that tells me we do not have enough inventory. So the only way we're going to see a major crash, when I say crash, I'm talking like more than 10%, more than 1 in 10. Because a lot of times they say crash, and sometimes it's 1 in 3%, which in real estate, that's nothing. That's piddly. That's thousands of dollars, which is nothing, which you can earn that back in a few years' time in equity just by staying on the property. But
so you think equity is going to keep going up at a pretty good clip over the next few years?
Absolutely. But rule of thumb is you're going to gain 3% every year, you know. So you're going to get equity the longer you stay in your house. You're going to build that equity or whatever property you have. But there's no way we're going to see a major crash until we need like 5 times the amount of homes getting listed. We need, did I say 5 times? I meant to say 15 times. I'm sorry, 15 times the amount of properties listed in order to compete and stay above the curve with all the buyers that we have.
Everyone's going to be a little bit different. So I guess before you make any decisions, call Helena. She can do both the buying and the selling. So she's got you covered. So tell us something controversial within real estate right now that people should be aware of.
Oh, okay. Well, ARM rates. I'm hearing a lot of people say because the interest rates are going up. The reason why the interest rates are going up is because they're trying, you know, obviously they're trying to balance the market. Okay. And obviously this is the government's way of balancing it by upping the interest rates, but they're also trying to negate all the investors from trying to buy at a certain price point. So there is a lot of other programs for, you know, lower income or FHA programs, this, that, and the whatnot that are out there. People are so what people are doing is saying, oh, get an ARM rate. Well, an ARM rate is where it's going to fluctuate. It's not a fixed rate, right? Not like a 30-year or 15-year fixed rate.
Right.
So I always say ARM rates are for specific types of people that have cash up front that can pay it off within 5 to 7 years. A lot of times those are investors. And I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time they are. So be leery if you have a lender telling you to do an ARM rate when you're an average Joe, because I'd rather have that 6 or 7% interest rate 30 years instead of having in 7 years, they go up to 14, 15, you know, up and up and up. I know too many people that have lost their homes because they decided they got talked into an ARM rate. So just make sure you do your due diligence and your research on ARM rates.
Right. You never know what's going to happen. If you have that 30-year fixed rate and you lose your job, you still have that 30-year fixed rate.
Okay.
Now you might be out of a job for a year or a week or whatever, but somehow you manage to make your payments, you're fine. Now, if you have an ARM though, you have to refinance, which means you need to be the same situation you were when you bought the house or better. And so a fixed rate is just better. I mean, if you can refinance in 7 years, you can still refinance a fixed rate at a lower rate. So
Correct.
that's not really going to help you all that much. And the risk is just enormous because you never know. We're right to work, which means they can fire you whenever they want. So you never know. A job is not security.
You got it. And I have other people say, well, I want the 15-year because it's lower interest. I always say, well, look at your budget. Look at your monthly budget, because you can always pay double on your mortgage.
Absolutely.
The 30-year covers you. So that way you have the lower rate, you have the lower payment, really is you have the lower payment. You can always pay double and pay it off in 15 years, because people always say, well, I don't want to have a mortgage that long. Well, you can choose not to have a mortgage that long. You can just pay it off early And there's no penalty
Absolutely.
to pay it off early. But protect yourself in case you do lose that job, or maybe somebody in the family gets sick or something like that. At least you have that low monthly mortgage payment if
Yep,
you do the 30.
exactly. Exactly.
I noticed too, because that the question you had asked me before, I noticed a lot of people are it's harder for veterans and FHA buyers in this market, and I'm seeing way too many listing agents. So when you go to list your property, make sure you have a listing agent that can really explain and talk to you about these programs, because the more buyers you have, obviously that's going to jack up your price. The more interest you have, that's going to cause it to, it to jack up the price and get you top dollar. But if you're not willing to work with FHA or VA, you're really cutting your buyer pool. I have a ton of FHA and VA buyers that are willing to pay because they want to be in a home. And, that's the American dream, right? And they have every right to be. I've seen way too many listing agents leave $15,000 to $20,000 on the table because they didn't want to take an FHA loan, when there's really not. I mean, it's not that difficult. There's certain things that you need to look for, but at the end of the day, just knowing that, working with an agent that knows these programs and knows how to navigate them will save you time and money.
So it's important that you have a realtor that understands how to get the most money out of your property at the same time getting you the cheapest out of the property that you want. So is there anything else you think our viewers should know?
I see a lot of videos on YouTube where people flash numbers, this, that, and the whatnot, and I'm always like, well, where are you getting this information? And so I think it's ask questions, know who the source is, know where you're getting your information, make sure it's somebody that either has the experience or is licensed, that actually can stand by what they're saying, because I don't know where this crash is, but that's just my 2 cents.
It's coming. It's the great reset, right? So, again, thank you for all your hard work on this and for coming on here today. If you need a realtor in Michigan, buying, selling, or both, give Helena a call. I'll leave her contact below and possibly a link up here in the corner.
Thank you, Jason. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.